There is $205 billion being spent on advertising and marketing in the U.S. Picked a few brands, some of my favorite brands: Nike, Apple, Peloton, Tesla. Growing up, I was a Nike guy. I did not buy another brand of athletic shoes until I got into CrossFit and I bought Reebok. Nike was all I ever wore. Apple, I'm Apple everything. And maybe this is why I'm so passionate about this, is because I fall victim to buying into these brands and really being loyal to a brand. But if businesses are spending that much money on branding, then it works. And we are fortunate to be in a position where in our profession, especially with more people going to the independent side, I know that some of you may have some compliance restrictions that may make some of this stuff I'm going to talk about not possible. And maybe over the long run, that may be your escape and why you decide to move if you're trying to build your business for the long term. But it's helping my business grow, and it's something that's a lot of fun. And I'm going to share with you kind of how I think this can help and how you should go about doing it. So he says naked brands are transparent. And transparency in our industry is very important. People are more aware of wanting to know what's going on, whether it's fees or kind of how your business is structured. So naked brands are transparent. They're founded by social media influencers. Don't worry, you don't have to be a social media influencer to start your own personal brand, but if you do it right, you might become one. And they prize ongoing communication with fans and clients. One of the reasons I wanted to blog was to position myself as an expert in the industry, but it's also a way to communicate with my clients in between meetings. I can write about something that they might hear about in the news, explain it, answer their questions before they even know they have the questions, and they don't have to pick up the phone because they're getting an email from me every week with whatever I've written. So it allows me to communicate with my clients and hopefully create fans. And what I mean by fans is not somebody who is waving a flag with my company's logo, but somebody who over time is reading or watching my videos or listening to my podcast, getting to know who I am as an individual, as a financial advisor. They become a fan and they ultimately want to work with me. And the beauty of the way this works is you have the Ritholtz Wealth Management umbrella. You have these individuals underneath it. They're all telling the same story, the same fundamentals, the same views on planning, the same views on investments, but they're all telling it in a different way. They're all speaking to a different audience. So now you have this firm that is casting this huge net, which is what helped them go from $60 million to $1 billion relatively quickly. And it's all based off of putting information out there. And there's so many angles that we could go. I feel like thinking of creating your brand, I mentioned I don't like the word brand. I would rather think about it as legacy. What do you want your legacy to be? And what I mean by that is, who do you want to be known as a financial advisor? Who do you want to be known as a person? Figure that out. What is most important to you? What are your values when it comes to planning? Your values when it comes to investing? And begin to communicate that. And as you communicate that and let yourself be known, that is what's going to shape your brand. And to be honest with you, I couldn't tell you what my brand is, but I can tell you that people out there know that my family is very important to me. My boys are in my videos that I do all the time, and people know about them. You're going to know that I love rap music. Most financial advisors would hide that, but I want to be in a position where if my clients surprise me to stop by my office and see me, and I'm blaring some Jay-Z or some Biggie, that they're not going to be offended because they know that I like rap music. They're going to know that I have a sleeve of tattoos. Not very many financial advisors have tattoos. For most of my career, I hid those. I don't want to have to hide those. It gets hot in Indy. It's 95, 100 degrees in summer. I don't want to have to wear a long sleeve shirt because I'm afraid that a client might see my tattoos and be offended by it. They know who I am. And the beauty of that is that might turn some people away. And that's okay, because if they have issues with me when it comes to some of those areas, we're probably going to bump heads somewhere else. And my goal is to build a business with clients that I enjoy being around. I don't ever want to pick up my phone when somebody's calling me on caller ID, cringe because I know I don't want to talk to them. For me, that's a problem. I don't care how much money you have. I want to work with people that I like. So here is me. This is what I stand for. I want to make sure that you buy into the way that I view our relationship and how it should be. And I write very clearly what that is. And if you're on board with that and I think you're going to listen and I like you, then let's go off to the races. And I'm building my business with people that I like. Things I just said. And if you only remember one slide from this presentation, remember this one. Genuine, authentic, and long game. And long game, but I think being genuine, what I mean by that is, I think you need to go into this with the right reason. So obviously, my goal for this is to grow my business, to meet new people that would be a good fit for me. But I'm not going out there trying to ask for business on every piece of content that I put out there. In fact, I kept my blog separate, and this was a personal choice, and there is no call to action on All About Your Benjamins. All About Your Benjamins is my blog. It's a play off of the Puff Daddy song, All About the Benjamins, so my love of hip-hop plays in there. But that is solely for education. Everything I put on there is to educate consumers, communicate with my clients, and my thought is if I do a good job, it's not hard to find my website. So I don't need to put a call of action, which goes against everything that you might hear from a marketing company. I don't have a marketing background. This is just stuff I've figured out on my own and I've learned from other people. So be genuine. Be doing it because you want to help people out there, you want to educate people, you want to position yourself as an expert, and that's the first part. Being authentic is being yourself. So don't put this front out there that you are of one way, and then when clients come in to meet you, you're the total opposite. They're gonna snuff that out and they're gonna be turned off once they come in and meet with you. So what you put out there better be what it is when they come in and they see you. And on top of that, what you put out there better be what you do with your clients, because if your clients are reading you saying one thing and you're doing something else with them, that's gonna be problematic. So do it for the right reason. Be yourself. Don't be something that you're not. I don't know why I felt comfortable putting my family out there, but that has become a big part of my social media, and it's been very impactful. I've talked to people, they want to keep that barrier between personal and business, and I totally respect that and understand it, and that is what they should do. They shouldn't put pictures of their kids on if they're not comfortable, because then it comes across as disingenuous, and it goes against being genuine, and I think people fill that out. So whoever you are, don't be apologetic for it. Put that out there, and you're going to attract people who like that, and you're going to deflect the people who don't, and that's giving you a business of people that I think you'll get along with very well, which I think is good for the long term. It's all about putting yourself out there. And it's okay to do that, and you should do that. I think the days of the big brand, you know, the wirehouse brands, and no offense to anybody if you are in a wirehouse, but I think when you think about growing your business over the next 10 to 20 years, young professionals, millennials, we don't care about those types of brands. And actually, we think negatively about some of us. So you're almost in a position where you're given permission to go out and create your own brand, and people work with people that they like. So let them know who you are, let them find out if they like you, and then that's going to be your way of forming your brand. Don't set out with a tagline in mind. I think you start out with yourself, look internal, and then just begin to start doing things, and your brand will come on its own. And I think that's more authentic, and I think it's more genuine, which lines up with my values and the way I think you should do things. Now you've found out who you are, you're comfortable telling everybody who you are, what you stand for, you buy into that, you see what's going on, how are you going to share it? And the beauty is, with technology, you have unlimited options. So now going back to being authentic and genuine, what are you most comfortable doing? Is it writing? Is it video? Is it a podcast? Voice is now becoming the next big thing. So do you want to do something on Amazon devices? You have all these different options, radio, book, TV, all these options to get yourself out there. Pick the one that you enjoy the most, that you think you would be good at, and start with that. Because it's going to take time. I told you it's a long game, so you're going to have to do it for a while, and you want to be doing something that you enjoy. You can be crazy like me and like get this bug, and you can do a bunch of stuff. So the other nice thing about creating this content is you can recycle it. I'm recycling that. I was on Tuesdays taking 4 to 5 minute segments from past podcasts with real good guests, putting that as on my Amazon skill for Tuesdays, just kind of as, here's a real quick blurb of some good financial planning news that you should hear, and then off on your day to the next news thing. So as you're creating this content, you can begin to recycle it. And then another cool thing that ends up happening with this content, usually with my written blogs, a client will email in with a question. I can answer their question. I can say, oh, by the way, I wrote about this back then. Check this out as well. Here's some more research on the subject. So not only did I answer the question in email off the top of my head, I've already researched it and written about it, and I can send that to them, and it just verifies me as an advisor and validates what I told them. And obviously, a good example of that is I had them doing a week in review video with me. And we get to the end. I didn't know this was going to happen. Roman asked me if he can tell a joke. So I'm like, okay, you can tell a joke. So Roman starts off with, if you go to the bathroom, you're American. So I'm sure some of you might know this joke. And when you come out of the bathroom, you're American. What are you while you're in? So this is my video that I'm putting on YouTube to talk to clients and potential clients. My 8-year-old is saying, European. And I got so many compliments on that video. They loved it. Another one I did, I had them do a conversation with me about wealthy and rich. So one of the things I've written about and talk about is I think wealthy should be our goal and not being rich. And I define wealthy as kind of a bigger picture goal, and rich is just having a lot of money. You can be rich and not be wealthy. I think you can have little money, you can live a wealthy life with your family and being happy. So I had Roman and Leo with me, and I asked them, what do you guys think wealthy means? What do you think rich is? And then I asked them, what would you be? And Leo, bless his heart, says, I want to be wealthy. And I'm like, good answer. Roman, my oldest, I want to be rich. I look at him, I kind of smile, I say, okay, that's fine. He says, what? It's true. And he was just being himself. But him being himself and putting that on video resonated with people, and they loved it. And I had no idea that was going to happen, but that's just me, and that's just them, and it works. So I can't drive home. Do what you're comfortable with, because people are going to they're going to pick up on it. That being said, don't stop doing something because it's uncomfortable. It's going to take a little while to get there. I am of the belief that you should create your own content. I don't think that you should use canned tweets. I don't think you should use canned posts from other people. I think your voice needs to be heard. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be the one typing it out. You can dictate it and have somebody else type it for you. But I think that the words that are on paper need to be the same words that will be coming out of your mouth. It needs to be your tone so people are getting to know you. And again, going back to compliance issues, I know that not all of us can do that. Sometimes we have to use those canned tweets or canned messages on LinkedIn. I think if you're forced to use canned content, you should just skip it. I don't think that there's any value behind it, and I think that people realize that you didn't write that, so they're not going to read it. I think it comes across as disingenuous. I almost think doing nothing is better than doing something that's canned. Again, and maybe a marketing person will say, we just want your names to be there, but I really think that the people who are having the most success doing this are creating great content, and it's them creating it, it's their words, and people are getting to know it. So, but at the end of the day, people work with people that they like. And how is anybody going to know if they like you ahead of time if they can't find anything out about you other than your website? You can have your picture and a little write-up, but that's not as valuable as somebody hearing your voice or seeing you speak or reading your words. So we are fortunate to be in a position where we can do all of this. It takes a little bit of time, it takes some effort. Luckily for me, I love doing this stuff. Like, it's become a hobby for me. Ashby was talking about how much he loves to golf. I hate golfing. So the time that he would spend on the golf course, I'm going to write a blog post or record a video, do a podcast. I'm doing stuff to put out there, and luckily I enjoy it. You don't have to do all that. Pick one, put the effort into it, and I would be surprised if you don't start to see benefits, whether it's clients. Yep. So obviously clients are always going to come first. You can go through the timeline and you can see that there's weeks that I don't do very much content. That's because I'm busy with clients. But basically on Sunday nights, I look at my week. How many days do I have busy days? What are my clients like? When can I plug in? Now for me, I tried plugging in every Wednesday morning from 8 to 10 o'clock writing. That doesn't work for me. I've got to write when it moves me. So maybe it's just jotting down some notes and I circle back to it. So it's kind of building it in when I can. The other thing is I don't do like networking groups or anything else. So the time that sometimes you might spend other ways of growing your business, which not there's anything wrong with that, but that's just not me. Instead of going out and doing that, I find the time to create the content. The other luxury that I have is my wife owns her own business as well. She has a little boys' clothing store. So when the boys go to bed, over the last 5 years, our time together as a couple is us being on the couch with both of our computers out doing work. And that may not be what you read in a marriage book is the best way to have a strong marriage, but it works for us. So in the evenings is when I do a lot of content as well. But I just plug it in whenever I can. And I don't have a goal of creating content every day. I would love to. Like those Ritholtz guys, they write every day, but they're not meeting with clients. The guys that are turning out a lot of content daily, they have a team underneath them that are doing all the clients. Their sole job at Ritholtz, Josh and Mike and all those guys, is to create content, be visible, and bring people in so that the CFPs that are underneath them can work with them and do the planning. They're not meeting with clients. So I'm probably going to be less likely to share your writing if it's on your company website, because I'm sending people to you. And even though I don't really view you as a competitor, I don't want to highlight somebody else's firm. But if your blog is Retirement Field Guide, I'm going to send that because it's less invasive on my business. I'm just directing you to some good content. And that's what, so the weekly video that I do with that blog post, you have the video that shows up first. Underneath that, sticking with my love of hip hop, I have a mixtape. My mixtape are 6 to 7 other people's blog posts that I think were good reads from this week. I think you should listen to what's going on, and here's what other people are writing about that did a better job than I do, and I think you should read about it to further your education and knowledge when it comes to finance. I get nothing out of that. I'm sharing other people's work, but it's creating a resource for other people. They're coming to my website. I'm kind of gathering all this information for them, and I become a resource for them of getting good information from the best people on the web that are writing things. And another thing that did is that's helped me meet a lot of those individuals as well. Because when I shared early on, I didn't do this with any intent, but I put my mixtape out, I put it on Twitter, this week's mixtape is ready, go check it out. This week's mixtape features, and I would tag everybody. And I was tagging them to let them know, hey, I thought you wrote a great piece. Like if I wrote something good and someone told me I did good, that makes me feel good, I want to keep going. Hey, you did a good job this week, great post. But what it came from that is these people started following me, and then there were dialogues, and all the people that I loved reading and I was sharing, I now know. And if I'm at a conference, I can walk up to them and see them or meet them. And when I'm in New York, go have coffee with them. So I didn't know that was going to be it. And that goes back to my belief of being genuine and doing things for the right reason. I was just doing that because I thought they did a good job. I wanted them to know that somebody appreciated what they did and keep it up. Little did I know that they would become friends in the business and somebody that I could call.